you worked for the Zivia for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you worked there from 2020, you said? 2019?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And you have decided to come to Canada afterwards, but you are in the service for that company, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Because when I joined Zivia, I thought I'm gonna stay here at least 5 years. This is such a great company. But yeah, then the pandemic hit and like all these cool things became more online. And
that's such a shame.
Online, it's not as much fun as in person, I feel.
Agreed.
I want to live somewhere like where I can just go into nature and I won't be so depressed even if there is a pandemic.
Like as a people from Europe, you had lots of other options besides Canada or United States,
That's
North America,
true,
right?
yeah.
Like why did you choose Canada among these options?
Well, so I have some family in Canada and I had been there before. And also like in 2019, that was before the pandemic, I made this big road trip from Los Angeles to Vancouver, Canada.
So like way low.
Yeah. Like also a bit like I knew like as a software developer, like the prime thing or like the best place in the world to be is like Silicon Valley.
There we go, yes.
Yeah, like there's Google, Facebook and big companies and that's where like the real innovation happens.
Right.
So I was thinking like maybe I want to move there and like be in the hotspot of the cool people or something.
Yeah.
But then when I was in the United States, I thought, yeah, it's also a bit of a weird country with like Trump being president and weird things going on, and you could buy guns in the Walmart, and Canada felt a bit more normal for me as a European.
I see.
Yeah, still the sort of being a bit close to Silicon Valley and having this cool vibe.
I mean, if you want, you can drive up there, if you are healthy enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
From this part on, I think I know some of the story, but I want you to explain like kind of detailed because there are lots of people who are in the kind of same situation that are ambitious enough to go to the North America from other country, but they don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
I think your story can encourage people to try out something at least, right?
Yeah.
So I think we can start this conversation from the question that like, how was the process to come to Canada? Like what kind of strategy you took to be here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So one other thing, at that point I knew like going to the United States is very difficult. Like you need
even for Europeans.
You need a green card or something. I think that's the same as Canada's PR, like a work permit, right? And they have this lottery system, or I had heard that it was hard to get. So that was another reason that I thought, let's look at how hard it can be in Canada. So I just went to the website where I Googled like...
That is such a casual motivation.
Yeah.
Okay, and then?
Yeah, and then you have like this Canada's immigration website just has this like form or questionnaire where you say like, do you want to work in Canada?
Right.
Have you worked here before? How long do you want to stay here? And it like leads you through the kind of immigration or work permit thing you need to get. And for me, it said like, you need to do express entry, federal skilled worker, and then you can become a permanent resident. Because I chose like longer than 2 years. I thought, if I say I want to work here for 1 year, like why would I move all the way to Canada just to work there for 1 year? That doesn't make sense to me.
That's true.
Yeah. If I want to like move, I want the option to stay there for as long as I want. Yeah, and then it happened to be that I was exactly like in the right spot, like younger than 30 years gives you a lot of points because it's like a point-based system who they invite, right?
Right.
I had a master's degree, so that was good. Like PhD would have been more points, but
Master is good enough for you.
Master was good enough,
sure.
yeah. Like I had good English skills.
How was this English skill, like to be more exact?
Yeah, so to apply, you needed to take this English test.
IELTS.
Yeah,
or some other
IELTS.
stuff.
Yeah, or self-pip, I think. I took IELTS and I had like, it's like divided in reading, writing, listening, and
Speaking,
yeah. And in 2 of those, I had like the highest score, and the other 2 like a bit lower. But like, I got the maximum points anyways for what you can get.
How come your English is so good, by the way?
I don't know.
Is it kind of common like for people in Netherlands to like, I don't know, grow up with the English really close to you, or?
Yeah, I think it's common. Also, like in my last company, we had one guy in our team was from Romania, so we spoke English almost daily.
I see.
Yeah, that helped
kind of
as well.
Really.
Yeah.
At the time when you applied for the permanent residency of Canada, how many years of experience you had? 3 or 5?
So at the time I had 5 years of work experience. Yeah, but I think to get the points you needed more than 3 or something.
I see.
Yeah, and also I was lucky that even though the pandemic had begun at that point, because this was like the summer of 2020 that I decided this.
Like what's crazy the most is that like you were applying for the permanent residency from the other countries and you were like cool enough for Canada to get the permanent residency even before you get into the original land.
That is true, because a lot of people, they come to study in Canada and then they
eventually
get a temporary work permit and then they get a PR. Like that's a way more common route, indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the alternative, what I could have done was what they call the holiday working visa.
Working holiday visa.
Yeah, working holiday visa.
It's a 1 year.
Yeah, it's a 1 year visa, and it's also a limit per country how much they invite every year.
Yes.
But then, you need to be younger than 30 years old, and at that time I was 29, so it would have been barely okay. But that would have been an easier permit to get, I think, than immediately applying for PR. But
right.
Yeah, I just wanted immediately the PR and have the security not to think about it anymore.
I mean, that's cool that you could have done it, you know?
Yeah.
There are lots of people who wants to come Canada with a permanent residency in your hand, but it's quite hard. But you figured out everything yourself and done it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kind of like, due to the pandemic, I didn't have much to do, but this was kind of thing I was obsessed about, and like almost every day I was reading things about it, and I was in a WhatsApp group with hundreds of other people who were applying. A lot of people from India apply as well through this route.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is there such WhatsApp group? Is it like common in your city or something? How did you figure that there was such WhatsApp group there?
Well, so there's this website, I think it's called Immigration Tracker or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can like fill in your details, and then a lot of people do that. So they have like statistics of how many people who applied in that month and year actually got their PR already.
Wow, really?
Because like the normal waiting time is 6 months, but due to the pandemic, for me it was in the end a year and 3 months.
I see. So to summarize your status at the time before you came to Canada, but got the permanent residency beforehand, was you were 29 years old and 5 years of experience in computer engineering or software development.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And a master degrees.
Master degree.
But from different field, not computer science.
Exactly, but that doesn't matter.
That your case is telling people that it's doable.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely doable, yeah.
And I also remember that like you got this job offer from the company we both work for right now before coming to Canada, is it?
No.
After coming to Canada?
No. So when I got my PR eventually in January 2022, I quit my job and I quit my house. I gave away most of my furniture and stuff.
That's a big adventure.
In the end, like I stood on the airport with like 3 suitcases and a big box with my bike. And I had 1 or 2 boxes still at my parents'. But for the rest, I had like nothing else in the world. And it felt so good to be like completely free of all material possessions, to just, this is my life, right? Like in these suitcases, this is everything I have. And now I go into the airplane and like start a new life. And yeah, I don't have a job yet. I don't have a house yet. I have nothing, but that doesn't matter because I'll figure it out. That's like part of the real adventure, what kind of, like what some people would find this scary, I kind of found this exciting, I guess.
And how was the process to get the job at the company we work for?
Right, yeah, so I have family in Chilliwack, close to Vancouver. So I stayed with my uncle and aunt at first bit. And then I just started like applying for jobs. And of course, I had never done this in Canada before, so I also didn't really know what the process was.
Right.
But I also have another uncle who has a software company and
has a software company.
Yeah, well, more like Linux support kind of things, not really what we do. But I asked him like, can you look at my resume if it's good for Canadian standards? And he said, yeah, I'll send it to my HR person. And she gave me like a lot of good tips. So I made a resume which is up to Canadian standards, which is very different than in the Netherlands.
Or was it?
Yeah.
Like, what was the most surprising thing for you, like as a Canadian standard you found out of the resume?
I don't think there was, like, there were lots of like small details. Like, I think in the Netherlands you put a lot of like personal details, and in Canada you don't do.
Focus on the professional achievements.
More like on your professional achievements, not even if you're like male or female or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no picture or something.
Yeah. That's like surprisingly brief, isn't it? Just put your name, email, phone number, enough of yourself. Just talk about your career. And,
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, and I also had the idea like, okay, I worked at this consultancy company now for a few years in the Netherlands, but I was just like working for random businesses like this hardware store, web shop, right? I want to do something, I want to work for a company where I actually believe in their mission. And that was for me like something with clean energy. Like something sustainability, something like really changes the world. Like I feel like the transition to clean energy is like the biggest thing at this time for us to do, like the biggest task for our generation. So if I can help towards it in any way, that would be cool. So that was a reason I eventually found Generac, where we work right now. I thought, I want to work there.
This is going to be a super good advertisement or promotion for the Generac to attract the talent. So we definitely need to be sponsored by them.
So I applied to a bunch of things, and also when in LinkedIn you set your status like I'm looking for a job. Right. You have like certain keywords, like even if you have somewhere in LinkedIn saying Java, people will find you and they will like ask you, hey, do you want to work for us?
Yeah.
Also like 3 or 4 different recruiters from Amazon contacted me, which is crazy that their recruitment process works so weird that they don't talk to each other. They all like individually scout people.
Yeah, and Java is still quite a popular language for those big companies, so they are kind of craving all of those developers who are well suited for that.
I didn't go through the whole interview process at Amazon because it was so lengthy, and I thought I was a bit scared of it as well. Actually, I had never really done all these like lead code kind of questions, like whiteboard coding kind of things before. And my previous company in the Netherlands, the interview process was actually just a take-home assignment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you had to like develop this small web shop kind of thing and then demo it to them and explain some things.
It actually is more practical than just doing the lead code stuff,
It's a lot more, I really like that style of interviewing where someone builds something and you can critique them instead of like asking them a very algorithmic style of question, which you don't really have that often in your actual company.
Exactly. Like how many times would you say like time complexity, the word, the term in your real time job,
Actually, today we used that word.
For the hackathon, I was joking around.
We were joking, So, the interview process in Canada, it was definitely different than in the Netherlands. Like at some companies, they ask very stupid questions like, can you name like some collection frameworks in Java? And you think like, why would you ask this to someone? Like they could Google it if they didn't know. It's such a... It didn't make sense to me at all. But in the end, I got 6 different job offers.
6?
Yeah.
How many, I don't know, like application did you like send to the company?
Well, through LinkedIn and Indeed and stuff, it's quite easy to just click
the button and you send it.
Attach your resume and don't even have to write this whole cover letter.
So you didn't even care about the numbers you were doing.
But I don't think I applied for that many things. Maybe 20 or something in total, not more than
6 out of 20.
Yeah, like at some point they just say, we don't even consider you. And the ones which are sort of interesting, I went through the interview process because so that I also like for the one which I really want can say, well, I actually have a higher job offer. I actually found this blog post about negotiating your job offer, how you should do that.
I'm glad you started talking about it because that was the exact question I wanted to ask. Like, how did you negotiate about your compensation and salary and all the packages with the company you're working for now?
There are a few things on which you can negotiate, like your salary, like your sign-on bonus.
Right.
But actually, there are a lot of things you can negotiate on, but some things I was just happy with. Like, I was okay with amount of holiday days we have and those kind of things, like benefits and stuff. So I didn't really negotiate those things, but yeah.
What was the part you negotiated with other companies? Or have you ever like negotiated with any company?
Actually, no. Like, it's kind of scary to negotiate, right? And I think that's why a lot of people don't really do it, or they try and then if the company doesn't agree, they say, oh, okay, then never mind, right? Yeah. And I was a little bit in that same boat because in the end, I wanted this job. So I couldn't say, no, never mind, I'm gonna accept the other one because I actually wanted this one.
Right.
Yeah, so I think to successfully negotiate, you need to have 2 job offers you equally like, because then you can like be totally honest and say, well, if you don't give me more money, then I'm just gonna take the other one.
Yeah. So it's all up to your skill and your luck.
Yeah.
How many job offers you are getting simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Also, what's really annoying is that when you get a job offer, they usually want an answer within like a few days.
Yeah, they set the static deadline. Yeah. It's kind of hard.
Whereas, so you need to time everything to come exactly within the same week, or otherwise a job offer will just expire.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that because some interview processes, they like take 2 weeks because there are like multiple rounds and there are a few days between each round. So you think, well, if it takes them 2 weeks to interview me, I can also like wait 2 weeks before getting my answer. But no, they want it within a few days.
Yeah, that's crazy. And some company even like, insert so many interviews within 1 day. So you go straight up like 4 hours of interviewing. Get the answer on the same day. And they ask you to like give you the answer by tomorrow, like, end of the day. I'm like, shit, like, it's so hard. But that kind of stuff really is based on the company drastically.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that's the story of you up until today. And you eventually got the job offer at the Generac and started working there. And I do admire you as a software developer, honestly. Like, they were not, I don't know, like, I'm kind of like, person who judges the shit out of people based on the work. But like you are definitely like one of these people who do like everything superior than what I do, what I know. I'm sincerely saying it, and like it was quite interesting that like hearing your story and how did you pick up all of those like principles and codes as a software developer. But here comes the question.
Okay.
What's the next step of your life for like as a software developer here in Canada? What would you like to go to United States at some point?
When I first moved here, I did think like maybe Canada will just be a stepping stone and eventually I will go to that Silicon Valley, what I kind of dreamed of before. It's still a possibility.
Nice.
Like from my career perspective, I do think Vancouver is a good place to stick around. There are lots of big tech companies, like you can have multiple jobs here every few years and still like grow as a person. I find that really important that you always stay like, I guess, I'm kind of ambitious enough that I want to always learn new things and like grow personally in my job and go to the next step, right?
That's the important factor that makes you a great developer from my perspective, you know?
Yeah. But at some point other factors also play a role, like I got a Canadian girlfriend. And
that is also important, you know? Big factor it is.
Yeah, maybe at some point you get married and get kids, and then maybe your work career is not the most important
stuff will be
factor for moving to a new place.
So you are currently satisfied as a developer here in Vancouver?
Yeah, I think so, for now at least. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. But I also recognize that before I said, oh, I'm gonna stay here for 5 years at this company, and then I left after 3 years. So
you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's hard to say right now, I'm gonna stay here for 5 years, and then maybe after 2 years I'm already tired of it. I don't know.
I mean, life happens, you know.
Yeah.
You never know when the opportunity or situation changes in your life. So.
Yeah, exactly. What I really believe in the mission of this company, and what our president of clean energy of our big department, but he said this is what we're getting in the next 3 years. So I might just stick around to see that happen.
The progress.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So who knows?
I mean, today's hackathon definitely gave me a more optimistic point of view of the company. So I was kind of happy about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think as a company, you need to recognize that you need to organize certain things to keep your developers happy, right?
Absolutely. What I like about working at this company is that every single code you make actually makes the impact to the real world, right? And it's not something you write a code for the SaaS, software as a service, and I don't know, make your customer happy in a way, and that's it. It's definitely a whole lot of perspective of how you write a code, but I have a good feeling of more impactful code I'm writing towards this art, you know?
Yeah, that's also the thing, if you know who your end users are for the code you write, if you've talked to them or seen them or heard their problems, and you realize what I write is actually solving someone's problems and they become happy by it. Yeah, that's such a good feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always been a great motivation for me.
Yeah, that's the biggest fear for me, that if I ever try to look for other company to work for, I'm not sure if I can get that great feeling as I do right now by writing the code or serving customers with it, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I think I asked all the questions I wanted to ask today. So thank you very much again for coming to downtown all the way from your place and having a conversation with me here in rainy Vancouver in winter. So I think I might need to ask you to chat with me again in the public place like this. So if that happens, then please say hi to me.
Yeah, and so to our listeners, if you have any questions about immigrating to Canada or being a developer in Vancouver or Canada, you can DM me on Twitter.
Description's in below.
Yeah, the link will be in the description. I'll be happy to help you with that.
Yeah, that's definitely super big help for you, because he's one of the great developer in Vancouver. So if by nature just knowing him makes you really good in position in Vancouver, so just try reaching out to him. All right, then I think we can call it a day. Thank you very much again for coming here.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Yeah.